Hey you guys, how are you guys doing? I hope you guys are all doing really well. Hello and welcome, I guess is what I usually say. So, I think it's about time I started talking about thyme, because everyone should grow this, and yes, I know that's a really cringy pun. But yeah, I'll try to be a little bit more consistent with my videos. I've been very busy, just super swamped with school and stuff, but I really enjoy these, so I'm committed to making them happen. So this over here is thyme, also known as Thymus vulgar. It's a perennial plant. It's native to the Levant region in Eurasia. So Syria, Lebanon, Israel, those areas there. It's native to many other parts of Eurasia now, and it's naturalized all over North America and Europe. So this over here is a perennial plant. It has a lifespan of about 10 years if you take care of it really well. It's colonial. It produces these really nice runners for you, and then you can propagate it that way. And many of them aren't sterile by seed. They're actually quite fertile, so you can regenerate them via seed as well. So the word thyme itself comes from Thymus, which is, oh, this kid's outside, which is the Greek root word for courage. And that's because this plant here has many traits that let it survive in very hostile environments, such as alpine regions, and I'll get into that later on in the video. So this plant here is very versatile in so many different cooking methods. It's got this really nice antiseptic quality to it as well. It has thymine, I think is what you call it, or thymine or something. It has this really neat chemical inside its essential oil that's antiseptic and has, in many parts of human history, been used to clean out wounds. It has healing properties, very much so like polysporin type properties, and I think that's another interesting thing to mention. So this plant here is in the Lamiaceae family. It's a very common herb family. It's the same family that you find mint and many sages and peppermint, chocolate mint. You find even lavender in this family too. So that's an intriguing aspect of this plant. So some ID features are it looks kind of like really small oregano, has a clumping growing nature to it, somewhat cascading what would I call these little stems that start off at the very top of the clump and radiate outwards. It has a mature size of about twice this width, so about 3.5 feet wide, mature height of a little bit under a foot. So it kind of creates this like really nice ground cover or like a carpet. Yeah, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about how to grow it and more of the environmental conditions it favors. So this plant here is very suitable for containers. It does really well in borders as well as rock gardens. It doesn't require a whole lot of extra water. It's very drought tolerant and not a very heavy feeder as it matures. So this plant here likes not too much moisture because then you can get like a little bit of heart rot or like stem rot and then you lose your whole clump. It just becomes mushy and black. It's also quite susceptible to pythium and many other different root disorders, so you want to keep it dry. Another thing I will say is it will only bloom in areas that get a lot of prolonged heat. The blooms are very small, a little bit nondescript, usually have about 4 petals, sometimes 5, and they're pink or white in color. Expect this here to bloom for you later on into the season, usually about September. It's evergreen in nature, so don't be alarmed if this here has complete full green coloration to it in the middle of the winter. It's not going to get fried off by frost or anything like that. This plant is very hardy. Has an extremely fibrous root system to it, quite a shallow root system. It does create mats, a little bit of a carpet effect, but with that said, it's still quite hardy and does really well against frost heaving and stuff like that too. It colonizes very well among other plants. I recommend growing this with other herbs, and is very versatile in cooking, as I've said before. I believe there's 6 or so grams of protein per 100 grams of thyme. The best way to harvest it is to either eat it fresh in pastas or salads as a garnishing, or if you dry it, you can hang like places in the thyme bush that you've previously harvested upside down, and you can dry them in a cellar or a pantry, and it keeps pretty well. Usually for about 6 months it's at its prime. It does expire after a while. Keep it in a very dry area or else it'll go a little bit moldy, so you don't want that. And yeah, so that's just my introduction to thyme. It's this really beautiful plant. It does really well in containers and hanging baskets as well. Just to recap, it likes heat. It likes a lot of really bright sunlight exposure. It's not a heavy feeder at all. It likes it to be a little bit dry. And yeah, it'll bloom for you for many, many years actually if you really give it the chance to. I just realized I have a spider on my hand. That's kind of nasty. Oh my gosh. I'm just gonna put this down. I got a spider on my hand. But yeah, so that oh, nasty. Okay. That over there is thyme, very versatile cooking herb, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. I'll try to be a little bit more versatile in my videos. I definitely want to incorporate more edible plants. Hopefully I'll get a chance to show you guys the garden, and stay safe out there. Good seeing you guys again, and yeah. Yeah. It's about time you guys had a good day. Okay, stay blessed.